best of the apple.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome replay viewers. The time is 1:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The date is Sunday, July 6th, 2025. And once again, we are at the Long Island Railroad Speonk station, awaiting the arrival of Montauk to Penn Station train 6095. Hello to you, Andrea. Let's see if I can get you up on the big app that shows the comments a little better. There we go. And we'll... No, we don't want that. M7 Express, good afternoon to you. So 6095 is 45 minutes late. Well, not quite. They're making up some time. It's due here in Speonk at 1:18 now. So that's more like 30 minutes late. It's 12:53 is the scheduled time to depart here, but Nabul, hello to you. Oh, it looks like we have an eastbound train coming in, so we're going to have a little action here of this is the eastbound train to Montauk. They normally do a meet at the JJD interlocking in Mastic Shirley, and by that I mean this eastbound train to Montauk and the westbound train to New York City. But because 6095 is running so late, looks like we're going to have our meet unscheduled here at Speonk. So they will bring the eastbound Montauk train in first, and then put him on the siding over here east of the Speonk station in the Speonk yard. Mike Wells, good to see you. Yes, 6010 for Montauk. All right, so he's coming in at his 5 mile an hour rate here through the block. Well, I don't think they're going to send him to Southampton. We'll see. I know what you're talking about because you have the interlocking there at Southampton Station. As a matter of fact, if you look back through my video history, you'll see a video of the very last meet out there, mechanical meet, before they went to the active blocks, where the conductor jumps off the train and manually throws the switches. All right, 500 equipment at Southampton. All right, this is not a stop here. This is an equipment move to Southampton. $504, 500. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, they're putting him on the siding here at Speonk. The south siding. For whoever caught that, it's not the revenue train that comes through a little later eastbound, so this is an equipment move. But as you can see, it's being pulled off onto the siding on the south side of the Speonk yard. Now once 6095 comes through from the east, then this equipment move will proceed on out to Southampton. Well, that was a little interesting added attraction here today, folks. $60.95, well then he's running behind again. The last word we had from the train app was 120, 118 here. So I guess we're falling behind again. He's just pulling into Southampton. He's got Hampton Bays stop and the West Hampton stop before he gets here to Speonk. Nabool, I agree with you. Trains and planes. Actually, a lot of action, you know, for what is in essence a commuter railway, Long Island Railroad. But the weekend resort area travel is pretty interesting. The trains that come here to the east end of Suffolk County, Montauk trains, they're pretty special. I've mentioned in the past that we're at Speonk. There's a diesel storage yard just to the east of me, just to the east of North Phillips Avenue crossing here. And this is, in essence, about the easternmost boundary of Monday to Friday commuting to New York City. Because it takes about 2 hours and 10 minutes, say, from a trip from here to Penn Station, each direction. 3022, John, thank you very much for that update. Okay, so that was equipment move 3022, which is now off on the south side siding at the Speonk yard, awaiting 6095 westbound to come through here in single track diesel territory. And then 6095 heading west should have another meet with the last afternoon eastbound Montauk train. That should occur at JJD interlocking at Mastic Shirley. Somewhere around 1:45 time frame. And I'm sure there the eastbound train will be the one put on the siding, and then the westbound 12-car train will go whizzing through Mastic Shirley. Joshua 793, hello to you. Thank you for joining. All right, let me do a time check here and see what's happening. If anybody's looking at the train time app, maybe you can give me an update of expected arrival time in Speonk now. The last I looked, it was at 1:18, but I think that's changed. I would say it's changed since it's now 1:14. He's not going to be here in 4 minutes. Don't know if it passed by Center. No, not the westbound train. The one that you just saw a few minutes ago heading east as the equipment moved, that would have passed through Centum Riches about 10 minutes ago. M7 Express, I certainly believe that. M7 Express telling us that the train is incredibly crowded. Well, $134 at Speonk. Andrea, thank you very much for that update. Really appreciate that. Another little tidbit here. The Long Island Railroad has an usher, platform usher here today at the station. He told me he's on duty all day. And I'm a bit surprised that they don't have backup coach buses. They've done that in the past. Although I think maybe if they were going to do that, it would probably be at West Hampton Station and East. Because I've seen in the past 4th of July weekends, the westbound traffic where they just could not get anyone else on the train. So they switched them to standby buses. Yeah, 519 and 506. Rail Fanning Productions. The same equipment set as Friday night's eastbound Cannonball. Okay, 45 minutes late, 50 minutes late. High volume of traffic. So we have seen, was quite a few years ago, a westbound Sunday afternoon train pull into West Hampton. You could not push any more people onto that train, so they had a couple of coach buses there, and people then had to get on the buses. I mean, they're comfortable enough buses, and then they would run from there to the Babylon station, an hour west of us, where they could get the electric train service to Penn Station. Just departed Southampton, thank you. Mr. Master 767. Craig, we're at Speonk. We had an equipment move heading for Southampton just come through, and they have him over on the south siding on the Speonk yard waiting for 6095 to come through from the east. So I would say we're at least another 20 minutes. Although the train time app would give us a better guess than that. That's my guess. So if he departed Southampton, he's got Hampton Bays and West Hampton to stop and then arrive here. Right, the equipment move will be 6009 later. Good. Thank you for that. Mr. Master 767, remember the days of the coach buses? I was just telling everybody about that, where they crammed people onto the buses at West Hampton. And one other occasion here at Speonk, they had a fleet of school buses that folks had to ride on from here to Babylon to catch the electric train service from Babylon to Penn Station. No buses at Speonk today. Southampton to Jamaica. Right. And then there's one more train. No, actually there's two with the so-called the evening westbound Cannonball, but there'll be another train around 5-6 o'clock come through here that's another DM to Penn Station. All right, but our train will be 12 Kawasaki C3 bi-level coaches, 519 and 506. The Friday night Cannonball set, which has been running back and forth all weekend. They must have run out of equipment, or either that or they've already moved it east to Montauk, because in the weeks gone by we would always see one or two backup sets over here in the Speonk yard. But the yard is empty right now. Gonna run an extra train tonight? Okay. Thank you for that update. Show you a little more of my area where we are, Speonk. This is about 72 miles east of New York City. Early morning commuter trains heading west, late afternoon, early evening commuter trains heading east, plus a couple of midday round trips, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, that go to Montauk and back, and then the other midday trips there between Speonk and Babylon. About an hour trip from here to Babylon. Yeah, M7 Express, yes, the eastbound equipment move to Southampton is sitting on the south side siding right now here at Speonk Yard. That was about 15 minutes ago it came in. I used to do pretty regular trips to New York City about 10-15 years ago in my city walks. And I would always catch the train in the morning here at Speonk. At that time they had a 508 dual mode to Penn Station. It was an hour and 56-minute trip. And then I would come home on a midday, late morning, early afternoon train back here. That's interesting. So you folks are following a lot of the action. All right, so another equipment move east. Coming back is 6021 tonight, 8:44. Well, what time is the scheduled westbound Sunday night Cannonball? Even though it doesn't carry the logos and everything, they list it as westbound Cannonball. Mr. Master 767, we have a platform usher here today who I was speaking with a little earlier. So I mentioned your name and he wasn't sure if he knew you or not, but anyway, there is a chance you may have had contact. Yeah, you're right, Andrea. That was before the pandemic. The pandemic changed a lot of things for a lot of people, including me. I think that's about the time I stopped with my walking trips in New York City. Used to really enjoy that. Plus the age factor, gang. Come on. It's a lot easier to do walks in New York City when you're 75 than when you're 85. But I won't rule anything out. I might surprise a lot of people one of these days. But that was a great train to ride. When I first started doing it, Andrea and others, that train did not stop at Jamaica. So it was a flyer. Last stop was Babylon, and then it took the Babylon branch in to and through Jamaica, and then the final stop was Penn Station. So that's why it ran like from Speonk in an hour and 56 minutes. Well, you mentioned that M7 Express, and I wish you all good speed with that, and hopefully that will be taken care of soon. Mike, to answer your question, or you're thinking about that, I'm not that familiar with the Oyster Bay Line traffic or anything, but yes, electric trains, the EMUs, do run to Williston Park Station. The Oyster Bay Line is electrified to Williston Park. So very well could have been, and still are, that type of service on the Oyster Bay branch. But we are now sticking more locally here with our Montauk branch train, so I don't get in that way that much to see what's going on. But there are other great people to follow. All you good folks who are doing these LIRR videos with Mr. Master 767 leading the way. So a little self-promotion here. If you enjoy the videos that I do, including the live broadcasts, do me a favor and hit the like button. I'm told that has an effect on YouTube through the algorithm or whatever, that gets you more viewers. 1:42, Andrea, thank you. Let me check my watch here. All right, 12 minutes away. M7 Express says it just arrived at Hampton Bays. Okay, let's do the math. West Hampton to Speonk, 7 minutes. Hampton Bays to West Hampton, about 9 minutes. There's 16 minutes right there. Plus, gosh knows how long it's going to be the dwell time at each station to load them on. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of the Oyster Bay action, other than Well, in the past, being at Hunters Point Avenue and in the afternoon, weekday afternoon, and seeing a diesel leave Hunters Point Avenue for Oyster Bay just prior to the train to Montauk leaving Hunters Point Avenue. So in my walking trips to the city, when I would stay and go in and be there in the afternoon, then I would always take the late afternoon Montauk train from Hunters Point Avenue, because you were always guaranteed a seat if you went to Hunters Point Avenue, got on the train. If you went to Jamaica and transferred, you know, that was, sometimes that train would get very crowded of the transfers from Penn Station. So it was really easy to take the number 7 Flushing subway from Midtown to Hunters Point Avenue, walk over the bridge there, the roadway bridge, and then down to the Hunters Point Avenue tracks. And the Montauk train would leave at 4:30 p.m. and it would be here in Speonk around 6:20. We had it all figured out in those days. The crowd is building up again. Let me just pan that way and show you the station platform is getting built up here. Yeah, that was almost 10 years ago, Andrea. Those were really enjoyable times, days. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, which one would think are almost obsolete now, but some of the highest viewed videos are from that time period. My trips to the top of One World Trade Center when that observatory opened up. A lot of the walks across the Brooklyn Bridge draw a lot of viewers. Departed Hampton Bays, West Hampton next. Thanks for the update. We did walking in the city during that time frame when I was in my 70s. All the bridges except the Triborough Bridge. I've walked Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge, Queensboro Bridge, GW Bridge to New Jersey and back, and never did Triborough. But I can tell you from things I've done in my lifetime. So I've walked the George Washington Bridge and I've walked the Golden Gate Bridge at both ends of the country. So that's an accomplishment. So many things to do in the Metro New York area, folks. If you have the spare time to do it, you know, just walking around, it's really great. Roosevelt Island tram, we have videos from that experience. Okay, so the train is on its way to West Hampton Beach Station. Yeah, we're from the schedule time, if I can see my screen and my watch at the same time here. So schedule time at Speonk, it was 12:53, so we're already way past 45 minutes late here. I hope they can cram them on here. I thank you for sticking with us here, folks. I know there's not much to see or do right at the moment, but trust me, when this train comes rolling in, it's worth the experience. Especially when those horns start sounding for the crossing here at Speonk. And he comes rolling in too. No slow approach. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I know it's hot out today, but there's a nice southerly breeze here where I'm standing at the end of the platform. In other words, an ocean breeze is coming in off the ocean today, so that's helping with the weather here.
Train to Penn Station will depart in 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Available towards the front of the train.
Okay, did you catch that cookbook announcement over the loudspeaker? 6 minutes, depart. So that means it's left West Hampton because it's nominal 7-minute run between West Hampton and Speonk. 12 is approaching Mastic Shirley. Okay, so they're going to put him on the JJD interlocking siding. That would be my guess there. And he'll wait for this train to come through. It's, well, how many minutes did it used to take us in a 16-minute run, 16-minute run from Mastic Shirley Station to Speonk Station. And they have the JJD interlocking just east of Mastic Shirley platform, where they do scheduled meets and in this case an unscheduled meet. There wouldn't be enough time for that train to get here to Speonk. And where would they put them? You already have one train on the siding over there waiting. Well, I suppose they could fit them on the north side siding tracks. Dark red, that means standing room only. Yeah, Hampton Bays is a popular spot also, very crowded there at that station. Again, you have access to the ocean beaches from Hampton Bays. across the Speonk Bridge. Although that bridge is going to be undergoing repairs because of the problem they had with it, but I guess they're still letting cars across. Yeah, how do they do it? It's a popular thing. Summertime traffic to Long Island's East End, South Fork, the Hamptons. Actually from Patchogue East, because a lot of people take the train to Patchogue and then the ferry across the Great South Bay to Davis Park on Fire Island. But then the next place you can really take the train to get to the beaches is West Hampton, and obviously the access to Dune Road ocean beaches. But this is why Long Island tilts to the east and sinks to the east on a 4th of July weekend. So Friday night, not only Friday night trains east, but all day Thursday. Let me make that correction. July 3rd, eastbound traffic. Mr. Master and I were at West Hampton for the Cannonball. And then I was surprised at the amount of people traveling on the morning of July 4th, still coming east. Friday. M7 Express is okay, 60. That train is at Mastic Shirley, so okay. He'll go on to the bypass siding at the JJD interlocking, and they'll hold him there. So folks on that train are going to be sitting on that train for another 20 some odd minutes. Andrea, to answer your question, I just saw it, huh? Yeah, that's the bridge that they found cracks in the cement beams. So they obviously did some quick repairs, but they limited the amount of tonnage that can go across that bridge. That you can't take heavy trucks across anymore. I believe you can still take passenger cars over to Dune Road, because that's the easternmost bridge across to the beaches there, because just east of there is the Shinnecock Inlet. And then the next bridge across is, you have to drive west along Dune Road till you get to the village of Quogue and West Hampton Beach. And I hope that the Suffolk County engineers or whoever are doing this work look closely at this Speonk Bridge is what I call it, because that's pretty much the same design that's going to be used for the replacement bridge at Shirley, at Smith Point. The drawbridge that goes at the end of William Floyd Parkway to the Suffolk County Smith Point Park was opened 1959, and it's outlived its useful age. It's still being used, but it's the weight restriction over, I think that's limited to 5 tons or something like that. So they have a new non-drawbridge on the drawing boards that is going to be constructed at Smith Point to replace the old drawbridge. So that's how we get to Fire Island, as I call it, quote, Fire Island, unquote, in Shirley. We go across at the Smith Point Bridge, but there's no road traffic east and west. There's no equivalent of Dune Road. But Smith Point Park, I'm sure, like today, is really crowded. They have quite a few campsites there, so you can bring your camper or trailer or whatever and be parked practically next to the ocean. And then to the west of Smith Point Park is the Fire Island National Seashore, which runs some 30 miles to the west along the Barrier Beach. I'm looking at your comment here, and I'm struggling to see it in the sunlight. 2-car Oyster Bay train. It's crowded on the 4th. Yeah, well, they steal all the extra C3s primarily from the Oyster Bay branch, and also I'm sure a few from the Port Jeff branch to make up these Montauk train sets. Mr. Master 767 and I were at West Hampton for a 4th of July startup weekend many years ago. And the early train, the so-called advanced cannonball to Montauk from Hunters Point Avenue, they had to leave 500 people standing on the Jamaica platform. So the only course of action that the railroad had was to commandeer a regular Port Jeff train, Oyster Bay train. So they put that Oyster Bay train into backup service to Montauk, and that left the people who commute to Oyster Bay one train short. So the regular advanced cannonball came through 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and then about an hour later this Cannonball X, well, they didn't call it that, they called it Train X or whatever the number was, came through, and it was a train that would have been a regular Oyster Bay train, and that was packed. And they had to put that train on the very little used siding at West Hampton in order to let the regular westbound afternoon train come through. So we saw that train do 2 reverse moves. Mr. Master and I thought that was pretty interesting. The conductor got off, manually threw the switches for the siding at West Hampton. They pulled the train onto the siding. The westbound regular train came through, heading to New York. And once they did that, they threw the switches again. They set the switches properly. And the Oyster Bay Extra train, then they did a reverse move down the track, and then finally they pulled into the station. So those poor people were sitting on that train for about 90 minutes at West Hampton on the siding. Of course, that was also before the days of signalization to all the way to Montauk. But West Hampton was never meant to be a place for scheduled meets. They could probably use it now in an emergency because the switches have been electrified, and rather than the conductor getting off the train and manually throwing a lever to move the track, he can key a switch, which throws the switch now, electric switch. $60.12, basically an hour late, right? And that's good information because I don't know when that equipment was scheduled to be used to return, but that may mean another delay in a westbound train from Montauk. Aha! Okay, I'm not going to zoom because I don't want to get in trouble here, but I see a whole bunch of crewmen walking across the tracks south to that equipment train we just saw come in a while ago. So they're getting ready to board that and head that train to Southampton once 6095 comes through. Or they have to wait and let the scheduled revenue train to go through first and then follow it out. $5.19, $5.06, yes. You finally caught a live transmission. Good. Good afternoon to you. Andrea remembers that, yeah. We have all of that documented on my Redstone Soldier channel, folks. Let's listen to this.
53, train to Penn Station will depart in 1 minute.
Oh.
Towards the rear of the train.
1 minute. All right. Let's listen for that horn for the North Phillips Avenue crossing. $60.12's regular scheduled time is 1:58. Well, he's still sitting on the JJD interlocking siding waiting for this fella to whiz through. And then it's 15 minutes from here to Mastic Shirley. You'd have to do a little bit of searching on my channel, but if you go back 10 years in the videos, you'll see a lot of those mechanical meets, I call them, where the conductor gets off the train and actually has to physically throw the switches so that one train can go onto the bypass siding. I have those at Hampton Bays, several trips. No, they're going to hold him at Mastic Shirley. There's no clear block for an eastbound train to come in and go onto siding here. Both signals are red. So
58, train to Montauk will depart in 6 minutes. There are more seats available towards the front of the train.
I don't understand that announcement. The timing is off on it. All right, Craig, here's where I rely on your expertise. Eastbound block, 2 reds. Westbound block, 2 reds. What's going on here? And I hear a horn. That has to be 6095. But the block is not clear heading westbound. Let's see what happens. Okay. I apologize if I'm not getting to all of your comments because the sun is shining right over my shoulder onto my screen. Which horn do I hear? Wind is out of the east, so it's probably 6095's horn. Mr. Master and I talked about this Friday night, and we said this would be interesting on this day. And it's hasn't disappointed us yet. Look at this Speonk yard, folks, the parking lot. People coming in at the last minute to get on this train. Oh, I hope they make it. $60.12 will come in first. I don't know, man. I don't know, men and women. You think you have an idea what they're trying to? I would say they would put 6012 on the north siding if it is indeed coming east, but the block is red, Craig. Signals are red. You already have one train sitting on the south siding, that earlier equipment train. Look at this. Look at these cars coming in here, folks. At the last minute for a late train. In all of my years of doing this at Speonk, I have never seen it this crowded at Speonk. Never. Well, I can't see up the platform to the west because there's a tremendous crowd here, but you're telling me 6012 is eastbound right now from Mastic Shirley? Hey, Jamaica Control Center, you better sort this out, because this is really confusing. That was an announcement. I didn't quite pick it up, but there is no way on God's green planet that all of these people are going to get on board 6095. Yeah, if they stayed at JJD interlocking, I agree with you.
The 203 train to Babylon will depart in 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Here's the story. You've got the regular Speonk to Babylon train waiting in the wings. So, let's sort this out. You've got an eastbound train to Montauk. We don't know where it is. Maybe JJD at Mastic Shirley. Maybe on its way to Speonk. You got a westbound train from Montauk, already packed somewhere between here and West Hampton, and you have the regularly scheduled Speonk to Babylon train about to pull in now. We'll find out. Stay tuned here, folks. This is most interesting. This is even more interesting than the day of all the coach buses and school buses that had to take people into the city. Oh, okay. Here comes 6095. But he's being held east of the yard. Let me see if I can get over it. You can see a view of it there. All right. So that's where he is. That's 6095 lead engine, lead locomotive. A football field length east of North Phillips Avenue. All right, here comes the cab car out of the yard, but I don't see the switches thrown. All right. You have to do it this way. You have to put the express ahead of the local. So 6095 is now proceeding slowly to the platform. They will try to get people on this train. 519 lead. 12 cars, Kawasaki C3 bi-level passenger coaches. This was the July 3rd set for Thursday night's Cannonball. This is really so the express ahead of the local, which makes sense, right? How else could you do it? It is packed, folks. I can see through the doors here. It is packed in the vestibule area. It's standing room only. They've platformed the 4 front cars, lead cars. They're not going to get anyone on this train. There's no room. That's Mr. Jim's opinion. Somebody's getting off the train to the east of me, crewman, riding back. He's going to go on to that equipment move that's on the siding. Never in 12 years have I seen it this crowded. I'm glad we came. All right, the usher, platform usher, and one of the trainmen are discussing the issue right now. I'm going to see if there's any seats anywhere. Let me pull it up. Usually the rear 4 cars are platformed here, but not today, not yet.
Hello? What's up? Who's this?
Uh-oh.
What's up, dude? It's a shit show over here. Is that what you want to know?
Well, that's one way of describing it. The platform usher just described it beautifully, I might point out. I hope you caught that one.
Yeah, they're all waiting for the 203 out of the yard. Yeah, this train's 5 years from now.
Unbelievable. Good people. Dutch, you're with us. You're watching this, right, Dutch? This is not make believe. This is real world here at Speonk right now, Dutch. You have a 12-car train that they can't get anyone on. You have probably like a 4-car local to Babylon that probably most people will be able to get on it. Oh, what are we doing now? We're doing a reverse move. Hey guys, this is a first reverse move here. Craig, you watching this? Have you ever seen this one before, Craig? Back them up. Bring the local in. This will be one for the record books, my good friends. I'm glad I'm here. No seats available. There's not even enough room to open the doors. Now what? my days of doing this have I seen this. This is a first. I hope some of Long Island Railroad management is watching this broadcast. Tell me we don't need train service to Eastern Suffolk. We'll sort it out. Reverse move of a 12-car train through the Speonk yard. Then I would say we bring the Speonk to Babylon local in, try to get these people on that train. Meanwhile, the crossing gates are still down at North Phillips Avenue. People are patiently waiting in their cars, or maybe impatiently. Okay. Thinking logically about this, the switches are not set to bring the train to Babylon out of the yard. I'm looking right at the switches right now. So what is this all about? I have to check with my usher. Okay, gates are going up. They're letting the traffic through. Here's speculation on my part. All right, see if some of you folks agree with it. He's got a reverse move here. I don't know if they have enough length on the north side sidings for a 12-car set plus 2 DMs. I don't know if it's that long enough, but that would be one thing they might try to do, is put this guy on the siding. No. Okay, they're going to bring in the train from the west, put him on the siding. Alright, 6095 is now halted 2/3 of the way through the Speonk yard on the main line. Lights are off, so that means he's going to sit there for a while. That means the 6012 from Montauk is going to come in next to Montauk. Craig, tell me red over yellow. Red over amber. Hope my battery lasts, folks. This is too much. So red over amber means slow forward. Put the eastbound train onto one of the sidings. Okay, gate's going down. Who comes next? Here comes the 6012 to Montauk.
Is that Archer?
6012 pulling into Speonk. 516 lead. Okay, they're gonna put this train on the south siding, so that means the earlier, oh wait a minute, I would have said that if the earlier train had departed the south siding, but we got a halt right here in the middle of North Phillips Avenue. M7 Express, that's what I thought, but that assumes that the earlier equipment move train has already left there for Southampton. And I don't know that it has. I can't really see around the trees or anything there. What do we do now, men? Yeah, eventually 6095 will pull back in, and they have to put him ahead of the local to Babylon. They can't have him stopping, behind a local between here and Babylon. Let's watch this. All right, he's pulling forward. He'll go to the south siding. Now you wish you were here, hey? This has to be the best we've ever seen here. This has to be the best. Brought to you live by Redstone Soldier for your train enjoyment. Okay, going on to the south siding. I can see that.
Yeah, this is going on.
521 trail. Now, a few more minutes. Let's hope that entire set fits on the south siding, because we all remember the incident that happened here quite a few years ago where the train was too long for the siding and it got sideswiped. Remember that one, Mr. Master? Closed down the Montauk branch on a holiday weekend while they did track repair, switch repair. Perfect. All right, now if the Jamaica Control Center is doing its job, which they are, the switches will now be set for 6095 to come back into the station. No. Gates going down Phillips Avenue. Who's next here, gang? You think so? M7. Yeah, I don't want to speculate. That's, you know, they know what they're doing, but this was coordinated between the conductor on 6095 and the usher on the platform here. So this is pretty interesting. Turn your lights on. Okay. Okay, 6095 now coming back to the platform. It ain't over yet, folks. It ain't over yet. Hoping you're staying with me on this, folks. This train is not stopping here. Train is not stopping here, men and women. There's no way in heck they could have gotten anyone on that train. So now comes the train to Babylon. And how the heck they're going to get them all on this train, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be waiting for it in Mastic Shirley. There's a nice bit of coordination there. Nabul, yeah, that was interesting. But it's not over yet, Nabul. Don't go to sleep on me yet, even though you're 6 hours ahead of me. So now we have to bring the local train out of the yard. And here it comes. There'll be a cab car in the lead, being powered by a DE30 AC locomotive. Switches are now set for train to proceed out of the yard to the platform. I think this has got 4 C3s. Oh. Good show, man. .5012 is the cab car. 2, 3, 4 Kawasaki C3 bilevels and locomotive DE 30 AC 416. They're going to put all of these people on the Speonk to Babylon local. Got him. This is yeah, it is interesting, that's for sure. Next stop, Mastic Shirley, followed by Bellport, Patchogue, Sayville, Oakdale, Great River, Islip, Bayshore, and Babylon. Good luck to anyone waiting for the train at those stations. Thank you very much for joining me here, folks. We've seen it all. I appreciate that. Again, I will have a backup of this on my regular YouTube videos channel in case there's any buffering or data freezes or anything like that. But glad we were here for this one. I appreciate you staying with us. So take care, everybody.